Y'all. Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I'm your hostess and your melanated queen. We're having Sunday service today. I didn't pull up my live stream, which I probably should have pulled up my live stream on my laptop, but for right now, I'm just going to freestyle it just like this because I'm not going to be on here too long. I need to leave out of the house. I should have been gone by now, but I hope you all are having a wonderful Sunday. Heute ist Sonntag, everyone. Today is going to be like, I think in the 40s right now. When I woke up, it was like in the 30s. I think right now it's in the 40s and it's supposed to maybe get up to like 53. So our weather has drastically changed over the course of the last 2 days. Um, Today we're talking about the truth about Jesse Jackson. And this ties into Al Sharpton because they always hung out together. Um, Also, we're going to be talking about Barack Obama, the NAACP, and we probably need to also include the Black Lives Matter movement in there, y'all, because all of this is some complete nonsense as well as Ben Crump. Okay, I'm tired of it. I am tired of, since this is allegedly Black History Month, that's what y'all want to call it, that's what y'all want to claim. We need to get into the truth and the proof about what all this has done for us. Okay. First of all, I want to start off by saying and posing this question for you. What, and I need to see if I can do a poll up here. Can I put a poll up here, y'all? I don't know if I can or not. I don't know if I can write something in here, but I wish I could. I'm not sure if I can. I don't think I can. My question to you is, what has Jesse Jackson done for us? What, excuse me, what has Jesse Jackson done for melanated people, y'all? Hi, Luke. I don't know if anybody can answer that question. I am just curious if anybody can answer the question, what has Jesse Jackson done for us or for people in general? I'm going to put this poll up here. Hold on. All right, let me ask the question. What has, and I'm going to make this question very clear, what has Jesse Jackson done for melanated people, y'all? And the problem is people don't want to address the truth. Thank you for the like, by the way. People don't want to address the truth. And I'm tired of these fake narratives being upheld in history classes, and we are having to teach this nonsense to the youth. Yeah, I misspelled melanated. Hold on. Melanated people. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to put this poll up here. I'm going to let people answer this if they want to answer it. I don't know if it's drag here to end. No, put it right here. I don't know if y'all can see my face or not because I don't want this to overshadow me. So I'm trying to see if I can see myself. Okay, so just a second, y'all. Because the thing, it goes right in front of the screen. So I don't know if anybody can still see me because this thing might be covering my face. So if it covers my face, then I'll take it down. But y'all, tell me if you can write or type in the comment section, what has Jesse Jackson done for us, y'all? Let me know. If you know, let me know. Because I'm tired of the narrative. I'm tired of the lies, y'all. What's good, SVN and Grow Goo Blue? How are y'all doing? Nice to see you in the chat section. All right, so I'm trying to look back at my live stream. Okay, so I can be heard, I can be seen. Thank you so much. Now, why did my comment get removed? I didn't remove your comment, SVN. I'm not sure. So, just so you know, YouTube does automatically remove comments. So, I don't see your comment on here. But if you want to retype it, you can. and because I haven't removed anything. All I did was pull up my live stream on the laptop so I can see myself. But yeah, so tell me, in your personal opinion, guys, what has Jesse Jackson done for melanated people across this nation? And this is my issue with these leaders that came up during that time, is because as the younger generation comes up, the narrative is still pushed and these lies are still told. And we have to stop this stuff, y'all. We really have to stop pretending like these people had our best interest at heart. We really have to stop acting like these people did so much for us. Let me ask y'all too, for all the times that they did the Millionaire March out in Washington, D.C., what has come about of it? What has come about of it? Do we see ourselves growing economically as a people? Do we see ourselves at the top of the totem pole? Or are we still at the lower end of the totem pole financially? And I'm going to answer the question, y'all, because it is very obvious. It is very obvious. I got an email from one of my colleagues for Black History Month, y'all. And I'm going to show you what the email said. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up this email. This came from one of my colleagues. He's a lender. He's a lender at Wells Fargo. Okay. And I saved it because it's very truthful. And it's unfortunate that it's truthful, but the sentiments are this. Basically, melanated people, and we know that we have not been able to partake in real estate, right? We were discriminated against with real estate and stuff like that. Um, so they had to implement the um, Equal Housing Opportunity Act in 1968 so that we could be included in that, right? Now, where is that email, y'all? I might have to go get my other phone because I don't see it. But if my memory serves me correctly, this is what it said. Basically, white people, the white counterparts, are actually dominating when it comes to home ownership. And it says that melanated people are lagging far behind, right? So my thing is this: why should we be lagging far behind after all these years if all of these programs are put into place to help us out? And if Jesse Jackson really did something for our people, then why are we still in the same state that we were in back then, y'all? Why did they have to implement the Housing Act of 1968 so that we could be included and being able to partake in real estate? I want to know what laws that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Bill Crump and Obama put into place to help protect our rights and our civil interests. Because I'm not seeing anything that was done for us. And I am tired of these fake politicians playing these civic games. I'm tired of this. And I'm tired of the narrative being spun like they did so much for us. Y'all, these were all optics and antics back then, and it's optics and antics now. Hold on, my TV is restarting in the background, so I can't see my screen yet. Um, Let me type in Black History. Maybe it'll come up this way because I wanted to read the email verbatim. For all these politicians and these activists that keep coming amongst us, I am still seeing the same consensus. Nothing is getting done. We are still, even though Jesse Jackson's no longer here on this earth, we are still stuck in the same boat that we were in back then. Okay? We're not dominating economically on a global level. Why is this the case? We are still undervalued, underpaid, going through the same hardships that we were going through when he was walking this globe. So please tell me, besides photo ops and press interviews and lining his own pockets with money, what did we get done as melanated people with Jesse Jackson? I am so curious to know, y'all. And I'm going to check the chat section in a second. I'm just going through my emails because this is ridiculous. And we have to stop commemorating people that did nothing for us, y'all. Seriously, this has got to stop. And and the thing I know about a lot of times when it comes to melanated people, they like to be lied to, okay? So that they can be pacified into oblivion to make them feel better. Egotistically, they want to feel better, but in reality, they're not doing better. That's the problem right now. That's the problem right now. So we need to actually, start telling the truth about people. We got to start telling the Braden, you sound stupid. You can go, okay? I'm not talking to you. And since you don't want me to talk, why don't you leave off of my channel, okay? Now I'm going to report you, okay? So leave and don't come back, all right? You can go, you can be gone and don't come back, all right? I don't have time for ignorance, y'all, because more than likely, the people, whoever Braden is, he's probably a white inferiority supremacist, right? Coming over here to try to interfere with this comment section, but he's not going to do that. Um, what I'm speaking is truth, and this is the problem. People can't actually fathom the truth, or either their feelings get hurt. But I feel that Braden is probably one of those white inferiority um, supremacists coming over here just to try to cause some type of back and forth commentary, but he's not going to get any of my energy because he's really not qualified to even speak to me, even in the chat section. All right. I treat people exactly how they want to be treated and how they deserve to be treated. Give them no energy because they're not worthy of our energy. Okay. So moving on, I also want to talk about Al Sharpton, because what has Al Sharpton done for us as a whole? He's still walking around. I don't see anything getting done. Let's talk about Bill Crump, y'all. If you all know, Bill Crump is supposed to be some type of attorney, and he's supposed to go into, like, advocate for civil rights for all these police shootings and this police brutality when melanated people are being mistreated. But if you really pay attention to Bill Crump, why is he not articulate? Why does he sound like he has not been to college? Why does he sound like he's uneducated? And on top of that, why is it that nothing is getting done for a lot of these mothers who have had their sons taken by the police when police brutality has been at play? If you remember Tamir Rice's mother, she did an interview recently, and I would advise you to go check that interview out. Tamir Rice's mother said that she was working with Bill Crump at one time. She was working with Bill Crump. And guess what? She said after working with Bill Crump, she actually started getting calls from other people talking about the fact that he does not know what he's doing as an attorney, talking about how he sounds like he's inarticulate. I could tell this through the TV screen. So I'm not sure why anybody would get represented by somebody that sounds like that, because it's actually embarrassing to be on a public platform not being very well spoken and sounding like you lack education. And then on top of it, she said nothing was getting done in her case. So basically, it's almost like she had to stop working with him and go seek out another attorney before stuff started moving in her case. But she still has not gotten justice, you all, for her son's Killing. That police officer that did that to her son is still moving around trying to become police officers in other states. You can go and check out her latest interview and watch that, y'all. So I want to know, what did Bill Crump really do for people? All he does is pose basically an optic for people. He likes to get on the camera and the TV screen, and he likes to act like he's really doing something for people, but nothing's getting done. Let's look at Barack Obama throughout his 8 years of alleged presidency, right? 4 more years, 4 more years, 4 more years, he was still here. What got done for melanated people? Nothing. Nothing. And let's talk about the NAACP, since everybody likes to bring this up, right? Let's talk about the NAACP, y'all. Since it's Black History Month, a lot of people don't like to talk about the true history and the true narrative behind Black history, y'all. But we're going to talk about it today. People need to understand the truth, and from which it comes, because all these narratives are being painted by your enemy. All right. So the civil rights activist called Henry Moskowitz, okay, that is spelled Moskowitz, Moskowitz, Henry Moskowitz. Now, if you look at his last name, you know this is not a melanated person, guys, okay? He's Vitz. He's what they call a Jew. Okay, so basically, he is one of the co-founders of your NAACP movement. Okay, he's a co-founder. They said he was a civil rights activist. My thing is this: anytime you have someone on the opposition co-founding your movement, you need to be very careful, because does that mean you're really getting justice? Let's also look at the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement. Who were the founders of that? Please do your research. Yes, there was one lesbian melanated woman that was involved in that, but that was also founded by the opposition. Please do your research. This is why it's not getting anywhere. When you talk about your HBCUs that you all get so excited about, that you like to claim all the time, please understand the Rockefellers, okay, are behind that movement as well. Your HBCUs are, especially Spelman, Rockefeller bloodline all up in that. Okay. It is named after the middle name of one of the Rockefellers. She's a female. And people get so caught up in the fact that, oh, I went to an HBCU. Oh, I pledged. I was this. I was on. Who cares? Because y'all don't even know why you are following these practices. So we need to be very careful with the narratives that are set before us and do some digging and research. People like to do things for optics, right? And this is why we are still behind on a global scale, because people don't research. Um, the email that I wanted to tell y'all about is the fact that melanated people are lagging behind. I think they said when it comes to home ownership, I forgot the percentages. I think white people are between 68 to 75% homeowners. And I think melanated people might be between 0 to 48% on a national scale. And the reason behind this is because of the fact, first of all, there's such thing as real estate discrimination. We all know that. There's redlining through banks. We all know that. It still goes on. And if it were not the case, I would not have received an email from Wells Fargo talking about it, y'all. There's something called steering, where whomever you're trying to buy a house with, they'll try to steer you to move into a certain neighborhood. And there's something called block busting, where they'll try to get you to move out of a certain location and move to another location because of your ethnicity. This happens all the time. Melanated people sometimes are so ignorant, they don't even know when they're experiencing discrimination, and they don't know the proper chain of commands to report it, right? Because if you are being discriminated against, the burden of proof is against the actual professional to prove that they did not discriminate against you, because they hold a higher due diligence, because they have a license, they're in that profession, and they should know better, because they have to have training every year on these things, right? So you're supposed to have the benefit of the doubt as the consumer. I was speaking to another colleague of mine. She's also a fellow realtor. She was telling me how a melanated lady purchased a house with a realtor that blatantly discriminated against her after she told me the story. Instead of the woman walking away from this realtor and not allowing that woman to get paid thousands of dollars of a commission, she stayed and worked with this woman that was blatantly discriminating against her in that transaction. And this is what melanated people do. They give everybody else chance after chance after chance after chance to mistreat them. But when it comes to each other, they're not willing to give second chances. They're out here shooting people. Y'all, we just had a shooting at the local Food Lion. For those of you who don't know what Food Lion is, Food Lion is a grocery store. It's right across from an elementary school, y'all. And it happened at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all, these children get out at around 3:15. So give or take, it's about 30 minutes to load the buses and to leave. Imagine what could have happened, because this actually took place. It started on the highway, and I guess it was into some road rage, and it went into the Food Line parking lot. Now, chances are you know who was involved in the shooting of one another. So this is what I'm saying. People have a short temper when it comes to one another over some traffic violations. But when it comes to doing your due diligence and research and being mistreated on a global scale, People have all the patience to keep getting mistreated, and y'all call this Black History Month, y'all. Nobody's talking about Black history right now. You know what people are talking about? Clarissa Shields. People are talking about Papoose and Remy Ma. People are talking about things that don't really matter all across social media, y'all. That's what people are tapped in and tuned into. And when you start telling the truth, people get hypersensitive, right? Because it's the truth and they don't want to hear it. That's the problem right now with a lot of melanated people. So yeah, my question is, what did Jesse Jackson ever do for us? What did Al Sharpton ever do for anybody? What did, and I'm going to say this, what did Martin Luther King do for us? Because he basically admitted, I led my people down to a burning house. He led his people to a burning house. Y'all know Martin Luther King was messing with white women behind the scenes. People don't want to talk about these things. He was messing with them behind the scenes. He was cheating on his wife, Coretta Scott King. If you do your research into the King family, they are not all cracked up at what they have put on social media either. They're not what they seem to be. And they took a lot of those videos down. I did my research back in 2017. Those videos, you can't find them anymore. They took them down, but they were caught up in a whole bunch of nonsense too. So my thing is, you got to be real careful when people push these people in your face as a narrative for Black History Month. I am tired of hearing about I have a dream speech, because we should not be living in a dream. We should be living in reality. In reality, melanated people should be able to partake in real estate, right? On the same playing field. Melanated people should be able to have home affordability in reality, not in a dream world, right? And my thing too is, let's talk about these Somalis, y'all. So don't you know the Somali people came on TV saying that they feel that America owes them for the homeless Somalis because of ICE and raids and ICE invasions. They think that Americans should be paying for that. So they can come over here and make demands in this country that we pay our tax dollars for. But when melanated people come out and speak about what they should receive, fair treatment, that's a problem. A lot of people don't want to hear about the truth, but I'm going to speak about the truth right now on this platform. I don't care who unlikes the video. I don't care who unsubscribes for the video. And any ignorant comments will be blocked. SVN, you said, was he or she an activist for people's rights? So allegedly, Jesse Jackson was supposed to be somebody that advocated for the rights of melanated people. But you know, you got to be real careful, y'all. This is why I'm talking about it, because the younger generation, if we don't correct this stuff moving forward, that narrative that they paint in media, that lie becomes the truth. And it is not the truth, y'all. So let I wish I could screen share right now. Y'all, if you give me a moment, I'm going to go get my other phone and I'm going to be right back. Okay. So I have to get up for a second. I'll be right back. Hopefully, you can hear me as I walk out the room. I'm going to get my other phone so I can share with you some images of who Jesse Jackson is, because some of y'all might be a little bit younger and you might not know who Jesse Jackson is. I'm going to show you a picture of him. And if you hear some noise in the background, my cats are playing. She's playing with her cat toy. She's in the hallway playing, y'all. I had to walk in the other room so I can get my other phone for y'all. I'm fully charged, y'all. Fully charged. I forgot to answer my client back. Hold on, y'all. I forgot to answer her back. And I got a missed phone call. I have to call him back when I get off the live stream, y'all. I got so much to do today. I really should not even be in the house. But I said I'm gonna come on here because I want to talk about this, y'all. I want to get it out the way and I want to talk about it. All right, here I go, y'all. All right, let me pull up Jesse Jackson for those of y'all who don't know what he looks like. All right, Jesse Jackson. All right, for those of you who don't know. So this is the picture that they paint to us, okay? And they tell us that Jesse Jackson was born in Greenville, South Carolina in 1941. All right, so he is just 2 years older than my grandmother. My grandmother was 85 when she passed in September 2024. He just passed away February 17th in 2026. So he was in his 80s, you guys. All right. Um, they said that he was a civil rights activist and a former shadow U.S. Senator of D.C. Now, they're going to give you a whole bunch of nonsense and rhetoric about what he allegedly did for us, okay? Um, Remembering Jesse Jackson, this is what CNN is going to tell us. This is why you got to get your truth from people that really, are not going to fall for the nonsense. It says the Reverend, keep in mind, they call him Reverend, okay? The Reverend Jesse Jackson, a towering civil rights leader whose moral vision and fiery orator reshaped the Democratic Party, and America has died at age 84. Okay, so he was the same as my granny when he died. Okay. Now, keep in mind, Democratic Party is pushed in this narrative. Keep in mind that Al Sharpton, all of these civil rights activists are always pushing a Democratic political strategy onto melanated people as a whole. All right. President Donald Trump praised him as a force of nature like few others before him, while former President Barack described him as a true giant. Notice all of the praise he's receiving from the presidents. And other tributes, civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton, notice they use the term reverend here, okay, to describe him as well, and a movement unto himself, while Bernice King posted a photo of Jackson alongside her father, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., with the words both now ancestors. Now, why am I emphasizing the word reverend? Why am I emphasizing the word reverend? I'm emphasizing the word reverend because this goes into the narrative that a lot of older to middle-aged melanated females, they gravitate towards church. They gravitate towards religion. As a whole, melanated people are some of the most religious people on the face of this earth, y'all. When it comes to Christianity, when it comes to praying and believing that things are going to change, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday, y'all. Okay. All of these Negro spirituals and songs that they sing in the pulpit of the church, and the marching and the begging and the praying in the name of religion, reverence, civil rights activists, and the Democratic Party. It all ties in together. And as long as people keep going along with these narratives, you're going to keep kneeling and praying and begging and marching for no reason. Where have all the Million Man marches gotten us as a whole? Because you still have melanated males going out here shooting each other at record numbers, right? You still have all this violence, all of these attacks, all of this thuggish, ruggish mentality, all of this hood culture that is perpetuated in the media and being celebrated, by the way, by a lot of our own people, which I don't claim those people as my own because that is not the mentality that I have. But they like to box us all in the same category for some reason. So my thing is, you got to watch out for these type of people. Reverends, bishops, pastors, all of these people that claim that they are so religious. I'm pretty sure Christianity was harped upon with their messages, right? I never listened to Jesse Jackson. I remember seeing him on TV, on the news, beside Reverend Al Sharpton every time things took place in the media. Where has he gotten us as a whole? Tell me one thing that has been accomplished from Jesse Jackson. Nobody can do it. That's the thing. Nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. So that's why I'm talking about it right now. Martin Luther King, what did he do to get us somewhere? He told us that we need to integrate, right? He told us we needed to integrate. Why do we need to integrate when you had Black Wall Street thriving independently? Why do we need to integrate, y'all? Why are you begging your oppressor to integrate with them? And they're clearly showing you they don't like you and they hate you. That is like begging your oppressor to be accepted for validation. Do you know the level of just gruesomeness that's just like, it's egregious, y'all. Why would I beg someone that hates me to be a part of their team? That's ridiculous. That takes power away from you. That tells me that you don't believe enough in yourself, that you got to go beg your oppressor. That's a slave mentality that they're pushing here. A lot of this stuff, it's oppressive mindsets. You said, what did Malcolm X say about liberals again? Do you even gym, bro? Who is? I can't really see y'all comments. I'm gonna take this down so I can see what y'all are saying. Hold on one second. And if you're saying something stupid and ignorant, you will be blocked and your comment deleted, because I don't have time for it today. Yeah, I don't entertain folly and nonsense. You said MLK and segregation, you dumb fool. I don't know who you talking to, but you ain't talking to me. I'll tell you that one right there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and you're going to get removed, okay? Because I don't know who you call. You're not calling me no names. I'm not tolerating that. Um, I don't know, Vladimir, you sound like you're Russian. You can go, okay? Because you don't even have a place in this conversation. So, and you're not calling me bro, because clearly I'm a female. What's good, Jetted Out? Al Sharpton 2.0, Ben Crump is Black excellence. Caprello, if you think so, if you think somebody that's inarticulate, sounding like he has low education and gets nothing done for the families and the victims, if you call that Black excellence, then you're trying to make a mockery. So you can go too, because that's an insult. There are a lot of intellectual melanated people out here. You said it's called Caucasian narcissism. It sure is. Thank you so much, Jetted Out, for understanding. What's good, Eric Markison? Thank you for understanding that. Caucasian narcissism. That's a new title that I love. I call it Caucasian inferiority complex. That's what I call it. But I'm not here to try to bash those people right now. I'm just saying these people, MLK, Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, Ben Crump, would not exist had it not been for the Caucasian narcissism, because all of these acts would not take place for these people to be marching and talking about the things that they have done to melanated people as a whole. So when we bring up these people, we have to bring up white people, unfortunately, right? No matter how much you try to get away from them, they keep fixating themselves and finding their way into Brown Girls Are Beautiful's channel. Now, if I talk about Charlie Kirk, because this is a question I want to pose, y'all. Between Jesse Jackson, and I need to make a video about this, between Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Bill Crump, Barack Obama, and Charlie Kirk, which one is more of a detriment to melanated people? Please tell me which one is more of a detriment. You have, what's good, King Hazy? You have Charlie Kirk that spoke, negatively about melanated people and spread his hate speech. You have the people that look like you, that pretend like they're on your side, not doing anything for you, but shuffling their fingers and hands. Which one is more detrimental to melanated people? You said Charlie Kirk. I can't even say that Charlie Kirk is more detrimental, because at least he let it be known who he is. All these other people are like hiding, right? You know how they say it's what did they say? A lion in sheep's clothing or something, a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what they are. Their pockets were being aligned. And trust me, you're not going to get onto a public platform if they don't allow you to get on this public platform. Who runs media? Who runs media? Caucasian people run media, okay? On a national level, CNN, ABC, NBC, these are run by the Jews, the Jewels, okay? So if they did not want MLK, if they did not want Al Sharpton, if they did not want Jesse Jackson or Barack Obama to have these national platforms, they would not have a voice to speak to melanated people. The reason they have a voice to speak to melanated people is because they know, and Ben Crump too, they know they're not going to do anything for melanated people. They know nothing's going to get done for melanated people. Charlie Kirk was Miss to America, a man of God. I'm glad you think so, Frank Sinatra, but you're sadly mistaken. All right. You said, who is he? Wow. Senate vibes. That's my question. Who really was Jesse Jackson? See, some of y'all could be a little younger, so you probably don't really remember Jesse Jackson because he was with the older, he was born in what, 1941? And they kept praising him. So it says early praise. In 1966, King brought Jesse Jackson into the Southern Christian Leadership Conference called SCLC and later made him the national leader of Operation Basket, a project focused on economic justice. Now, tell me how we've had economic justice if I just told you the other day. Let me find that email, y'all, because I saved it. I got a screenshot of it. I just told you the other day that melanated people are lacking with home ownership. If melanated people had economic justice, here it is. So you see, I'm not making this up. This is from Wells Fargo, y'all. In recognition of Black History Month this February, I'd like to share the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, NAREB, latest State of Housing in Black America, SHEBA, report. For more than a decade, SHEBA has served as a critical resource highlighting the evolving challenges Black Americans face in pursuing home ownership and outlining opportunities for meaningful progress. Now, how come all these years, I'm talking about decades, they walked? Caden, are you pregnant? Why don't you answer that question for yours? Are you pregnant? Why are you worried about me and my pregnancy if I'm pregnant or not? Focus on if you're pregnant. All right. You coming in here with stupid stuff. Leave me the F alone. So then it says here, the 2025 findings offer both a call to action and a roadmap for how we can better support Black home buyers and strengthen the communities we serve. This year's report surfaces several important insights. Now, this just came to me on February 11th at 3:27 p.m. when I screenshotted this in 2026. Homeownership rates remain deeply unequal. So you mean to tell me MLK put him into and put Jesse Jackson in place of Operation Breadbasket, which was supposed to be economic justice for melanated people. So that was in 66, y'all. He just died this year. So you're meaning to tell me, what's that, 40 years? 30 to 40 years, he could not do anything for economic justice, so this wouldn't be going on? Okay, let's keep going. It says Black households continue to lag far behind white households. So I was right. 45.8% versus 74.3%. Let's keep going. Loan access gaps persist. Black applicants face denial rates 2.5 times higher than white applicants, with an overall loan failure rate of 35%, driven largely by higher debt to income ratios and credit history challenges. They have these challenges because a lot of these people, remember, they just said a bunch of melanated women were laid off from their jobs. Not just that, melanated males are being laid off from their jobs. I just talked to a colleague of mine that went to real estate school with me. She was a financial advisor, I don't know what happened with her job. She got sick. Anyway, her husband that had been working at a company for years just got laid off. She had to take a lower paying job, y'all. So they're trying to sell their properties. It says here, housing costs disproportionately burden Black homeowners. All right. More than 1/3 spend over 30% of their income on housing, and upfront costs for Black borrowers are 42% higher than for white borrowers. We know that because melanated people, even with the credentials, even with having multiple degrees, even with having the certifications, qualifications, the education, and the training, you are going to start this job being paid less than your white counterparts. That is not me making it up. These are realities. These are facts. If you don't believe me, go talk to people in the real world. Okay. This has happened. I've seen it. I'm not going back and forth with ignorant people about it. And they do this purposely and intentionally because they want you to struggle economically. So you tell me, where's the economic justice for Operation Breadbasket, y'all? I'm just trying to find out what did Jesse Jackson do for melanated people? Because if this is the case, yeah, I bet the Jesse family is good too, Jermaine. I bet they are good. I bet they are good. They line their own pockets. All these, you said that too, does it? I don't care what you think. This is called passion. And if you can't handle it, remove yourself from the channel. Because the one thing that y'all like to say is that people have an attitude when they're passionate. What you can't stand is for somebody to come up here and articulate the truth when hit dogs come hollering in the comment section. That's not my problem. If you have a problem with that, see yourself elsewhere. Okay? Bronson, revenge, dummy. All right. Now, let's see. King served as a mentor while Jackson provided bold energy to Northern campaigns, tension and conflict. Shortly before his death, King criticized Jackson for promoting his own agenda over the group's, telling him everything was not going to be all right during a heated exchange. We know that everything is not going to be all right because everything is not all right now. You said you love me. I love me too. How could you not love me? Okay. And it says final moments. Despite their disagreements, the two reconciled, and Jackson was in Memphis supporting King's work when he was Killed. Y'all, I find it very strange because they said that back in the day, Farrakhan admitted, and I saw this speech out of his own mouth, that because of some internal conflict behind the scenes, that he had one of his own. Basically, he played a role in allegedly MLK's untimely demise, y'all. So that's why we can't follow blindly behind these leaders, because there's so much they have going on that we don't know the truth about these people. The only narrative that we give is the one that the media wants to feed us. And I am tired of lies being perpetuated to the younger generation. And then they're going to believe that this stuff is real and true, and it's not. Jesse Jackson was living well. MLK and them probably were living well. All these fake civil rights activists, and I met one of them too. I want to tell y'all about that. I met one of the civil rights activists. I'm trying to find out. Let me see if I have his phone number in my phone, y'all, because we were talking, we were having a conversation, and I want to talk about the story. It's called the Mississippi something. He was a part of that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find his. I'm not going to tell you his phone number, but I'm going to tell you his name if I can find it. Civil rights, because I tried to hold on. Yes, I see. Okay, John C. Barnett. Let me look him up real quick. Let me see if I can find him. John C. Because he told me he wanted to buy a house, and I met him. He told me he wanted to buy a house, y'all. Okay, so let me see. Yep, he's a national activist. Yep, this is him. This is him right here. He's on LinkedIn. Okay. Um, he told me, "Oh yes, because I've been on, news, and I marched beside who did he say he marched beside? I don't know if it was Al Sharpton or somebody, but yeah, I'm gonna tell you about him too. So when he started talking, I didn't say anything because if he wants to buy a house, I'm gonna help him be a homeowner, right? Um, but a lot of people, like I said, melanated people say they want to do stuff and don't do it. That's the thing. You said they're all paid off, Jermaine. They are all paid off. And that's my point behind this video. They are all paid off. So a lot of these people come on here for photo ops. I shouldn't, I can't, can I show you this? I think I can. Hold on. I'm gonna show you who he is. All right, hold on one second, y'all. So this is him. Let me unhook this. This is him, okay? Right here. I don't know if y'all can see this, but that is him. Okay, this is one of the civil rights activists that I met. So you see him, he's posing with a victim in Albemarle, alleged discrimination. My thing is, we have a lot of photo opportunities. All these, photo ops, that's not doing anything if we don't get real justice. Now, he told me a story about the Mississippi. I'm going to tell you about that story in a second. Mississippi 4 or something, the Mississippi something. Hold on. Mississippi John. What's his name again? John. Hold on, y'all. I gotta find it. Okay, John Barnett. All right, because he said it made national news, and I didn't hear anything about it until he was telling me about it. That's how we started talking about this stuff. Oh, what do you know? Breaking news live from Greenville High School. Now, who did I tell you was from Greenville, South Carolina? What do you know? Jesse Jackson is from Greenville, South Carolina. So you see what I'm saying? Um, what allegations against John Barnett? And a civil complaint filed in California court is alleged that John Barnett traffic hit the woman from. Is this the same one? It can't be. Yeah, I don't want to put misleading information. It might be a different person. Hold on. Oh, let me see. Get down, Tikapoo. The Mississippi. Oh, this is it. I think. All right. Do y'all know about the Mississippi police that tortured those melanated guys? Um, I don't know if y'all heard about it, but since we are on this topic, I want to bring it up. Um, okay, this is it right here. Okay, let me see if I can find an article about it. They're called the Goon Squad. That's the name. That's what he told me. It's called the Goon Squad. Okay, the Goon Squad. All right, and these were police officers that were torturing melanated males. All right, so and he was actually, I guess, trying to advocate for whatever happened to those guys. Um, it says how six. Here it is. How six Mississippi officers tried to cover up horrific torture. Y'all, you said Tupac called them all out in the 1990s. It was said that the CIA and the FBI had a bet on who would get to King first. OMG, I love this intelligent, beautiful young lady. Don't forget John Lewis from Maryland. Hey, Kitty. Yeah, she says hi. Okay, so I'm going to read this to y'all. Okay, so John, what's his name? John Bennett, the civil rights activist that I met, that I was talking to, that said he wanted to purchase a home. So we got to talking, and he was telling me about this right here. He was a part of this too. It says Jackson, Mississippi, men who had sworn an oath to protect and serve were huddled on the back porch of a Mississippi home as Michael Corey Jenkins lay on the floor, blood gushing from his mutilated tongue, where one of the police officers shoved a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger. This really happened. I didn't know about this, y'all. As Jenkins was in pain, the six white officers devised a scheme to cover up dozens of stunning acts of brutality that they had just carried out during a 90-minute period of terror against Jenkins and a second, they call him black, I'm going to say melanated victim. The officers planted drugs. They stole surveillance footage from the house. They tried to dispose of other evidence. They agreed on a set of lies that would further append their victims' lives. So they're not going into detail, but I'm going to tell you what happened. And that was just the cover up. Careful to avoid security cameras at the house, they burst in without a warrant. Now I'm going to tell you why they bursted into the house without a warrant. So these two melanated guys were going over to this white female's house, right? I guess they were friends or something about he was going over there to check on her. I forgot why it was, but they were regular visitors going to this woman's house. I don't know if he was helping the woman, taking her medicine. He was doing something for this white woman. The neighbors saw these men and thought they were dealing drugs, so they called the police. That's how this started. Okay, so that's the backstory, just to give you some information. So careful to avoid security cameras at the house, the police, they burst in without a warrant, starting the torture session of physical, sexual, and psychological abuse. So what they did was, I think he said either they kicked the door in or they shot the door in. I forgot which one they did. They handcuffed one of the guys, Jenkins, and his friend Eddie Terrell Parker, and poured milk, alcohol, and chocolate syrup over their faces. This is what they did to them. Okay, the torture. They mocked the victims with racial slurs, and they electrocuted the guys. The officers had meant to torture the men without leaving physical scars, but one of the officers shot Jenkins in the mouth. Miraculously, Jenkins survived. So, what they did next, y'all, I'm going to tell you what they did next. They made one of them get in the shower, stripped down with no clothes on, right? This man was so scared. I don't know if he like defecated on himself or whatever, but they said that one of the officers took, I don't know if it was a gun or took something and what do you call it? Sodomized this guy in the shower, where I think he started to defecate on himself because they were trying to humiliate them. So they're not telling the full story here, but Bennett, the civil rights activist, told me in detail what happened, y'all. This is how we exchange information too. The 6 officers pleaded guilty Thursday to a long list of federal civil rights charges. The Mississippi, and let me tell you this is how they tried to cover it up. So after he sodomized the guy in the shower, he took the gun and made the guy suck on it. He told him to suck on the gun, and then he pulled the trigger, hoping probably that he would unalive the guy. The guy made it. So then the officer called his supervisor and was like, "Oh, I accidentally just shot such and such." So they were trying to like try to figure out what narrative they could tell, and so they tried to plant drugs on him and just try to make up a story against this guy. So that's what they did. Okay. Law enforcement officers were seldom charged for crimes committed on the job, and it's rare still for them to plead guilty. They probably had too much evidence for them not to plead guilty, but for them to do that, they had made a comment about stuff that they had been doing before this. So just imagine the other people that have been attacked and assaulted, and it got thrown out, or nobody ever proved it to be true. So y'all be careful, y'all. The charges follow an investigation by the Associated Press that links some of the deputies to at least 4 violent encounters with Black men since 2019. And that's only the ones that we know about, that left 2 dead, DEAD, and another with lasting injuries, y'all. The officers included Christian Deadman. Y'all write these names down. Christian Deadman, Hunter Elward, because they never like to put their face on the media. They protect these criminals. But whenever a melanated person does something, their face is plastered everywhere. Christian Deadman, Deadmon, Hunter Elward, Elward, Brett McAlpin, Jeffrey Middleton, and Daniel Opdyke, Opdyke, of the Rankin County Sheriff's Department, and Joshua Hartfield, a Richland police officer. They pleaded guilty to charges including conspiracy against rights, obstructions of justice, deprivation of rights under color of law, discharge of a firearm under a crime of violence, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. They should have been charged for attempted murder. The terror began on January 24th in a racist call for extrajudicial violence that felt like it was from a bygone era. A white neighbor phoned Rankin County Deputy Brett McAlpin and complained. See, I'm telling you what he told me. So this is what the article says. A white neighbor phoned Rankin County Deputy Brett McAlpin and complained that 2 Black men were staying with the white woman inside a Braxton home. So do y'all remember a while ago they called the police on 2 melanated guys, or a melanated guy, because he was in his car asleep at the park? They called the police. They don't know if this man was taking a nap. It didn't matter if he was sleeping in his car. What crime did he commit, y'all? So because these 2 Black men were staying with the white woman in the house, they called the police, right? This is just like those Caucasus Mountain. Anyway, let me just keep going. McAlpin told Deputy Christian Deadman, who texted a group of white deputies so willing to use excessive force, they called themselves the Goon Squad. White thuggery at its finest, y'all. Okay? White thuggery at its finest. Let me show you a picture of the screen. Hold on one second, y'all. So this is the guy that got shot. He was in the hospital. He's kind of frail. He's not a big guy at all. Okay, but that's him. His name is Michael Corey Jenkins. Okay, he lie in the bed. He made it through. He was lying down at the hospital. It says, "Are y'all available for admission?" Deadman asked. They were, in fact. Opdyke admits he was wrong for his part in the horrific harms. So for him to say, "Are y'all available for admission?" This tells me that they are regularly knowing they're speaking in code. They do this on the regular. So they were ready they were about it, y'all. So they were ready to go and commit these crimes. Opdyke admits he was wrong for his part in the horrific harms and is prepared to face consequences of his actions. Attorney Jason Kishberg said in a statement, Hartfield's attorney, Vicky Gilliam, said while he cannot change what he did, he has shown that he is ready to accept consequences. Attorneys for the other men did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The deputies were under the watch of Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey, who called it the worst episode of police brutality he has seen in his career. How did the sheriff not know that this was taking place? I don't buy that, y'all. There had to be some type of complaints being made. Law enforcement misconduct in the U.S. has come under increase. So my question is, Jesse Jackson, NAACP, Al Sharpton, MLK, Barack Obama, what have they done for melanated people? Because why is this still going on? Law enforcement misconduct in the U.S. has come under increased scrutiny since it says the 2020 killing of George Floyd. We're not even going to get into George Floyd in Minneapolis, y'all, because I feel like that's a narrative that they wanted to feed the media to ignite racial tension and violence. The January beating of Tyre Nichols by 5 Black members of a special police squad in Memphis, Tennessee, led to a probe of similar units nationwide. In Rankin County, the brutality visited upon Jenkins and Parker was not a botched police operation, but an assembly of rogue officers who tortured them all under the authority of a badge, which they disgraced, the U.S. Attorney Darren LaMarca said. Federal court records detail how they burst into the home without a warrant, keep in mind, without a search warrant. So they violated the law and tortured Jenkins and Parker before the shooting. This is why melanated people, you have to know your rights, because they play on your willful ignorance, right? As Jenkins lay bleeding, the officers knew the mission had gone too far. Instead of coming clean, they devised a hasty cover-up. Remember, I told you, the guy told me this, that civil rights activists told me that they were trying to cover up. They included a fictitious narcotics bust, stolen surveillance footage, and threats. The officers warned Jenkins and Parker to stay out of Rankin County and go back to Jackson or their side of the Pearl River. First of all, let's get this straight. Anybody telling somebody to go back to somewhere needs to go back to the country from which they dwell. All these European people, whites, Caucasians, are immigrants here. Let's get that straight. Court documents say referencing an area with higher concentrations of Black residents. Christian Clark, head of Justice Department Civil Rights Division, said the trauma is magnified because the misconduct was fueled by racial bias and hatred that recalled the 1964 kidnapping and killing of 3 civil rights workers. After Dedmon summoned the goon squad, the officers crept around the ranch-style home to avoid a surveillance camera. Premeditated. They kicked down the carpet door and burst inside without a warrant. That's what I told y'all. That's what I said happened. That's what happened. Opdyke found a sex toy. Remember, I told you they tried to sodomize this guy, which he mounted on a nearby BB gun. So I was right. Okay. And forced into Parker's mouth, y'all. See, my memory that I'm recollecting, he told me about this not too long ago. Dedmon tried to sexually assault Jenkins with the toy. The officers electrocuted the victims with the stun guns, comparing whose weapons were more powerful. The sick and torturous acts, y'all, that they underwent. Elwood forced Jenkins to his knees for a mock execution, intending to fire the gun without a bullet, but it was loaded and discharged, cutting Jenkins' tongue, breaking his jaw, and exiting through his neck. As Jenkins bled on the floor, the officers devised a cover story for investigators. Elwood brought Jenkins into a side room to stage a drug bust over the phone and said Jenkins reached for a gun when he was released from handcuffs. Afterward, McAlpin and Middleton made a promise. They would kill any of the officers who told the truth about what happened. The officers kept quiet as pressure mounted from a Justice Department civil rights probe. One of them came forward in June, Sheriff Bailey said. Now they'll be treated as the criminals they are, U.S. Attorney LaMarca said. Y'all, we still fighting for justice out here. That was in Mississippi, that was in Mississippi. That happened in Mississippi. The one who shot the man in the mouth was not charged with attempted murder. That's crazy, Frank. They got away lightly. Yes, they did. Yeah, you remember that story? I never knew about it until I was talking to him, And he told me about the Goon Squad. I said, no. He said it made national news. We were on, I think he said CNN or something like that. I did not know anything about this. Did y'all know about that? But we heard about George Floyd. So, like I said, the media pushes certain narratives that they want the public to know about. We heard about what's that guy, Trayvon Martin, and all of that. We heard about that. I didn't hear about this, but I'm talking about it since we're, speaking on these things. Y'all, it's crazy out here. So my point is that happened in 2020. Jesse Jackson was still alive. Barack Obama was still alive. NAACP is, I guess, still going on. Al Sharpton is still here. What's going on? What have they done? Why is this still happening, y'all? How many times can people march? So my point is they are aligning their pockets, with donation money, campaign, whatever money they get, formulating these press narratives, having these optics in front of cameras. Nothing's getting done. So if you ask me who is more detrimental to melanated people, these people or Charlie Kirk, I'm going to say those people, because they're posing like they're advocating for you and they're not. And they look like you too, in the name of Christianity, in the name of the Democratic Party, in the name of politics. That is very dangerous. They're playing a very dangerous game. And there are a lot of people that still blindly follow behind these fake leaders, y'all. It's crazy. I don't want to be on here too long. I've already been on here for an hour. Thank you for everybody that signed in, for tuning in with me today. Um, this has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Since they say this is Black History Month, we're going to talk about it. Like I said, I don't think that Jesse Jackson should be commemorated. I just don't believe he earned that from anybody to really recognize him. For what reason should he be recognized? It says how Jesse freed, look at this mess, y'all. How Jesse Jackson freed dozens of Americans held captive overseas. We're talking about what's going on here with melanated people. And they got him in the news about some people overseas, talking about foreign policy, y'all. George W. Bush. And we know all about that nonsense. Let me see here. Let me see what this is. Nonsense. Through tears. 20 years ago. So they say freed 100 Americans and hundreds of other detainees in Cuba, Liberia, Gambia, Kosovo, Syria, Iraq. What is he doing for melanated people though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Y'all talking about all this other stuff. What did he do for melanated people right here on this soil? We don't have anything to do with all that other stuff. In 1984, he negotiated the freedom of U.S. Navy pilot Lieutenant Robert Goodman, who had been held in Syria for 30 days after being shot down over Lebanon. He traveled to Cuba and arranged the release of 22 American prisoners held by Fidel Castro. These American prisoners, were they melanated people? Were all of the melanated people? Because my thing, I don't care if you're helping other people. My biggest thing is if you are always painting the narrative that you're so much for civil rights of melanated people, and you use melanated people's struggle and melanated people pain, you see melanated people's pain really pays so many people a lot. This is why they love for us to be in pain, because it helps everybody else. But when the struggle is about us and about our rights and what we deserve, you see how we get overlooked and then everybody joins in on it. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Jermaine. 1990 talks with Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein led to the release of about 100 Americans and hundreds of foreign nationals used as human shields. So it's okay as long as he's helping everybody else. But if he really were about melanated people and helping us, he would not be given this national platform. He would not be given all these accolades and all of this attention. I'm telling you what's the truth. Anytime real people try to advocate for melanated people, they have a target on their back, y'all. For one thing, if you talk about real issues impacting melanated people, they're not going to give you a national platform. if you really are helping people. Y'all can see this in the entertainment industry. Those people won't even help melanated people, even though they're billionaires and millionaires, because they're being held captive by their jewel leader that's telling them not to help their own. But they can go and support Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace, Birkin, all these people that are already rich. They can go and buy all that stuff. But when it comes to like talking about home ownership for melanated people, I bet you they will not empower melanated people out here in America. I bet you they won't. I bet you they won't. It's crazy, y'all. So do your research on him. You know, if you think he needs to be commemorated, go right along. But I don't think he deserves any of our attention, any of our energy to be put on a platform, on a pedestal, be commemorated, because I have not seen the results of what he has done. And you would think after 40 years, by now, we would have some remnants of that right now. We still wouldn't see people being discriminated against on their jobs just because they're melanated. We wouldn't see people being targeted by the police just because they're melanated. That shouldn't still be going on if these people did so much, if they were walking so much for melanated people and going on these marches. It's a joke, y'all. And we have to stop giving our attention and energy to these people who have done nothing for us but usurp our energy and want us to follow blindly behind these people like they supposed to be put on a pedestal. No, they're not. All in the name of religion, all in the name of politics, and they push the Democratic Party in our faces and want us to vote Democrat. That's stupid. Y'all, we have to hold the power within ourselves, understand the power that we really have, and start using our power, because we can be powerful when we unite in numbers. There is power in numbers, and all animals know this. That's why you see fish swimming in a school. That's why you see birds that come together in a group and they flock together. This is why animals come together in a herd, y'all. When you talk about survival, most animals, when it comes to living together, like a lion's den, it's power and strength in numbers. Melanated people are individualized. We're individual. Jesse Jackson was self-serving. These civil activists, a lot of them are self-serving. So as long as them and their family is okay, they could care less about the mass of the melanated people. And that's just what it is. They're sellouts. They're sellouts. The people in the industry, all your fake celebrities, are also sellouts, y'all. But anyway, I digress. This has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining in. Remember to walk in your divinity, celebrate yourself, um, and y'all have a blessed day. Haben Sie alles einen guten Tag. You all have a good day. That's how you say it in German or auf Deutsch. And I'll be back on here to talk to you later. And until next time, you all stay blessed. Consider liking and subscribing, okay? All right, y'all. I gotta